Hava nashira, hava nashira, hava nashira, let us sing. Hava nashira, hava nashira, hava nashira, let us sing. Come let us sing. Come let us sing, come let us sing, Hava nashira. Come let us sing, come let us sing, come let us sing, Hava nashira. Hava nashira, Hava nashira, Hava nashira, let us sing. Hava nashira, Hava nashira, Hava nashira, let us sing. Come let us sing, come let us sing, come let us sing, Hava nashira. Come let us sing, come let us sing, come let us sing, Hava nashira. Hava nashira, Hava nashira, Hava nashira, let us sing. Hine matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. 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 Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Ose shalom, bimroma, uya aseh. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Hine matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Hine manayim sheberachim gam yachad. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שברכים גם יחד. 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 הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שברכים גם יחד.
Shalom, everyone. This is terrible. Okay, so there is a reason that Rabbi Michael and I are not leading the service today, and it's because here we are like 2 seconds in and I'm already losing it. So, welcome. Thank you all for braving the snow and the pandemic and for being here with us as we celebrate Shabbat together and as we welcome Jonah to become a bar mitzvah. So Michael and I, we knew that we would not be very good at leading the service today, and so we have thought for so many months about what we could do. But you know, Jonah and Molly have been raised in these walls and on this bima, and they have spent so much time here that we really felt like Jonah's bar mitzvah, we wanted it to feel different than the other experiences that he has had here and that we have had here. So we're so honored to have our friend Rick Recht, who is serving as our Shaliach Tzibor today. He is helping Jonah to lead the service so that we can be parents and cry in the front row. So, so thank you for being here, and it is our honor now to call up bar mitzvah today. Yamod Yonah Magen ben Moshe v'Adina bar mitzvah.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Our service begins on page 67 in the Blue Prayer Book. May the door of the synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and bitterness. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. We join in the singing of Matuvu on page 74.
Matovu Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Va'ani ero astecha avo vetecha eshtachaven el rechu kochecha beiratecha. Matovu Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Please turn to page 108 and rise for the call to worship.
Yalalai, yai yai dai dai. Yalalai, yai yai dai dai. Yalalai, yai 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 dai. Yalalai, yalalai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam, 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 Le'olam va'ed. Yalalai, yai yai dai dai. Yalalai, yai yai dai dai. Yalalai, yai yai dai dai. Yalalai, yai yai dai dai.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or uvorei choshe, Ose shalom uvorei et hakol, Ha'meir la'aretz v'ladarim, Alecha barachamim uvtovo, Mechadesh b'kol yom tamid ma'aseh, Bereshit ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai. Kulam b'chochma asita, Mala ha'aretz kinyanecha, Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, Al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, Va'al mu'orei or she'asita, Yefarucha Selah, or Chadesh al Tzion ha'Ta'ir v'nizkeh kulanu mahava la'ovo, Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer Hamovot. Love your neighbor as yourself, you said. And light-blinded we saw that inner and outer worlds are one, as you are one. You spoke and we wrote. We reached down for you down the centuries, your light moving before us as we climbed, fell back and climbed again, your Sinai of life. Baruch atah Adonai habocher ba'amo Yisrael ba'ahava. We join in the singing of the Shema on page 114.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Mahuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. We continue with the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'kol levavcha uv'kol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha v'chayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochim mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantan levanecha v'dibarta ba'am v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'leftecha v'aderech u'shochtecha u'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'chayu letotafo b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzetz yedchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liyochlelchem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. And what is my lifespan? I'm like a man gone out of Egypt. The Red Sea parts, I cross on dry land. 2 walls of water on my right and on my left. Pharaoh's army and his horsemen behind me. Before me the desert, perhaps the promised land too. This is my lifespan. Please join us in the Mi Chamocha.
Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi Kamocha Nedar Bakodesh Nora Tehilo Osefer Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi Kamocha Nedar Bakodesh. Who is like you? Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? When Moses and the children crossed the sea, they sang to you with songs of joy. Who is like you, Adonai? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha nedar bako. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha nedar bakodesh.
Please turn to page 124 and rise for tefillah. Adonai, sefaftai tifta, ufia gita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Ha'gibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, Mizocher Ze'avot v'imahot, U'mevi gula lifnei v'neihem, Leman Shemo ba'ahava, Melech Hozer u'Moshia u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Hakol Atah Rav Lechoshia, Mechayei Hayim Bechesed, Mechayei Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Zomef Noflim Ve'holim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishanei Afaram Michamocha Ba'al Givulot, Umido Melech, Melech Mimim, Umekayem, Umatir Yisra, V'ne'emanata L'chayot Hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei Hakol. You are the open door that beckons me in. Peeking around the doorframe, I began to enter in your glory. You move me forward, O Eternal, to step beyond self-made boundaries. Lift my foot over the threshold that I might abide with you. In the house of the Eternal, I found my questions. Waiting to be posed, they fill me with wonder. Sit with me, Eternal Teacher. Encourage my seeking. As I fill my hours with your mitzvot, shall be filled. Send me through your door, stretching up to honor your name, sharing out this wonder, enriching myself in the giving. Baruch atah Adonai, noten abetochenu hayei olam. We continue with Kedusha on page 130.
Nikadesh et shimcha ba'olam, Kashem shemakdishimo tobi shmemaro, Kakatuv hayad liviecha, V'karazeh el zeh v'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzivaot, Meloch ol haaretz kibodo. Adir, Adirenu Adonai, Adonenu ma'adir, Shimcha b'chol haaretz. Baruch kivod Adonai mimkomo. Echadu Eloheinu, Hu Abinu Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu ve'Hu Yashmienu, V'rachamav le'enei kochai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai ichtzion, Ledor v'ador, Hallelujah. Ledor v'nador avid godelecha, Ulenetzach nitzachim kedushatcha nakdish, V'shivchecha Eloheinu mipinu lo yabush le'olam va'en. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. How do you do with the arms there? Is that good? I don't think I've ever done that. I got that. I got that down. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Chen v'chesed, chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Chen v'chesed, chen v'chesed v'rachamim. V'rachamim sim shalom tova uvracha sim shalom tova uvracha. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Aleinu al kol Yisrael, Amecha sim shalom tova uvracha sim shalom tova uvracha sim shalom tova uvracha. Ose shalom bimromah, ose shalom bimromah, hu ya'aseh shalom, hu ya'aseh shalom, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Yeah, may the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom, bimromah, bimromah. Oh, say shalom, oh, say shalom, bimromah. Hu ya'aseh shalom, hu ya'aseh shalom, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Yeah, may the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down.
This is the part in most services, especially bar and bat mitzvahs, where I explain what's been happening so far. And I'm going to try and get through it. So far, what you have heard and what we are doing is watching a young person stand on the bima and take us through the whole of the Saturday morning service and the Siddur. This young man has been preparing, as most bar mitzvahs have, for quite some time, but unfortunately, because he's been rabbi the rabbi, he's been getting ready for this position his whole life. And in many ways, he's had to learn this for a lot longer than he ever expected to. But what he actually has been saying so far in Hebrew is this. In the beginning, there was darkness, and then there was light. And a lot of things happened after that. We went through time, the whole of spiritual time. We left Eden. We encountered the ancestors who wrestled with God. We entered into Egypt, and we crossed through the waters. And at this point, all of us are at the foot of Mount Sinai. And Moses is sitting in the corner over there, ready to ascend the mountain. Soon he will read us Torah. And like every Jewish person, he will tell you what he thinks about it. He will give his opinion in the rabbinic tradition in the form of a Dvar Torah and teach us. And then, after all of that, we will say words of revelation and sing. Because when one reveals any truth about the Torah, it is as though the snow goes away and the sun comes out, and we are back at that moment, at the mountain, Mount Sinai.
So we know that this teaching is not just something that is for your generation, that it's passed from one generation to the next. And so symbolically, we always take this opportunity, if we can, to be able to pass the Torah through the generations. And honestly, of all the things that we hoped would happen today, and that, thank God, even with the snow and even with the pandemic, we were still able to do, is to be able to have your family here. And so today we have your parents and your grandparents, and we're so lucky to have Nana was able to come here all this way, and to have Grammy, who is her 95th birthday today, which is kind of amazing to be able to share that with her. So what we're going to do now is we are going to invite your sister Molly and your cousin Jeffrey to come help us, and all of the grandparents to join us up on the floor there, and we'll ask everyone else to please rise as we take the Torah from the ark. Jeffrey, come on up. We actually did practice this.
Dovador Nagigod lecha, Dor vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, Dor vador, our lips will praise your name. Dor vador, Nagid golecha, Dor vador, we protect this chain. Generation to generation, Dor vador, our lips will praise your name. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, U'devar Adonai Yerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Adonai, Hagedula, Behagedura, Atiferet, Behanetzach, Behahod. Ki hu bashamayim uba'aretz, ki hu bashamayim uba'aretz. Adonai, Hamamlaka, Be'aminatzeh, Lechol Lerosh.
So the Torah portion that Jonah is going to be reading this morning is called Bashalath, and it is a really special portion in the Torah because it's also called the Song of the Sea. And so you will see and hear that it sounds and looks a little bit different than any other portion in the Torah. Are you ready?
Baruch Hu Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amet V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Az Yashir Moshe Uvnei Yisrael Et Hashira Hazot Ladonai Vayomru Lemor Asher Ladonai Ki Ga'ol Ga'a Sus V'rochvo Rama Vayam Ozi V'zimrat Yah Vayili Lishua Zeli Von Vehu Elohei Avi V'aroma Menhu Adonai Ish Milchama, Adonai Shema, Markavod Paro, Michelo Yara Vayam, Umivchar Shalisha Tubu Vayom Suf. Techomot Yachas Yumu, Yardu Simsalot Kamo Aven. Yimin Chadonai, Yadari Bakoach, Yimin Chadonai, Yirat Oyev, Uvrov Geoncha, Tehovos Kamecha, Tishalach Charoncha, Yochlemo Kakash, Afar, Uvruach Apecha, Yirmu Mayim, Mitzvot, Kmoned Nozlim, Kafu Tehomot, Belev Yam, Amar, Oyev, Yerdof Asik Ashaleg Shalal Kimlemo Namshi Arik Harbi Torishemo Yadi Nashafta Rochacha Kisamo Yam Salalu Koferet Bamayim Adirim Michamocha Bailim Adonai Michamocha Ladar Bakodesh Nora Tehilo Ose Fala. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'chayei Olam Natan B'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
V'zot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe Lifnei B'nei Yisrael Al Pi Adonai Bayad Moshe. This is the Torah which Moses placed before the people of Israel, God's word for the hand of Moses. melech haolam, asher bachar b'nbi'im tovim, v'ratzach v'divrehem ha'ne'emarim ba'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'torah u'v'shevto, u'Yisrael amo, u'v'nbi'ei ha'emet b'tzadak. Udvorah isha neviah, eshet lifnei hi shofta et Yisrael beit hahi. V'hi yoshevet tachat tomer Devorah ben Havamah uvein beit al Bachar Ephraim vaya'alu alecha b'nei Yisrael lemishpat. V'ti ishlach v'tikra levarak ben Avinoam mikadesh nashafta vatomer alein halo tzava Adonai Eloheinu Yisrael lach umashachta bachar tavor v'lakachta imcha asheret lafim ish mi b'nei nashafta umi b'nei Zevulon umi b'nei asheret alafim ish mi b'nei nashafta umi b'nei Zevulon mashachta alacha el nahal kison et Sisera Sar Tzava Yavin Vet Rikbo Vet Hamono Utatihu Vayadecha Vayomer Alecha Barak Im Telki Imi Vachaachti Vim Lo Telki Imi Lo Elech. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Sur kol ha'olamim, Sadik b'chol hadovot, Ha'el ha'ne'eman, Ha'omer be'oseh, Hamdaber u'mkayem, Shekol devara emet v'tzedek. Al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'vinviem ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, likdushav limlecha, likvod ultifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, unachbarchim otach, yitbarach shimcha, b'fi kol chai tamid le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha'shabbat. There's once a man named Bob. One day there was a terrible hurricane. Bob's family came to warn him about the hurricane. They said, "Bob, the hurricane is coming. We need to leave the city." Bob replied, "No, thank you. I'm waiting for God. God will save me." Bob climbed up to his room and sat and waited. Later, after the waters had started to rise, a large lifeboat came by. The people in the lifeboat shouted out to him, "Come down in the boat and we can save you." Bob replied, "No, thank you. I'm waiting for God. God will save me." The lifeboat went on. An hour passed and the water was almost up to the roof. A helicopter flew over him and a ladder dropped down. A voice came over him over a loudspeaker and said, "This is the Coast Guard. We've come to save you. Climb up on the ladder." Bob replied, "No, thank you. I'm waiting for God. God will save me." Bob drowned. Bob went up to heaven, and there he saw God. He asked God, "Why didn't you save me?" God replied, "Are you kidding? So many people tried to save you. Your family, your neighbors, even the Coast Guard. That was me trying to save you." The message of the story? Sometimes believing in God doesn't mean waiting for someone else to save you, but taking matters into your own hands. My Torah portion tells one of the most important stories in Jewish history, about a time when the Israelites were saved from a terrible fate. The Israelites have just escaped from slavery in Egypt but Pharaoh is not far behind. He sent thousands of chariots, which is their entire military. The Israelites have almost no chance of surviving when they come up to the Red Sea. They're trapped between the Pharaoh's army and the sea. Most people know what happens next. God parts the Red Sea, and the Israelites escape across it, and Pharaoh's army drowns. But if you read the story closely, this isn't exactly what happens. People start complaining to Moses about how worried they are, and Moses then complains to God. Then God said, Ma titzak Eli, why do you cry out to me? Tell the Israelites to go forward. Lift up your rod and hold out your arm and split it, so the Israelites may march into dry ground. Why does this part of the story matter? Because it teaches us that it wasn't just God who made the miracle happen. God gave Moses the courage to be able to do what he needed to be done to split the sea. Moses held the staff in the air all night long so that the Red Sea would part and stay parted, which allowed all of the Israelites to cross to safety. God gave Moses the ability to part the sea, but Moses was the one who had to use it. Moses had to believe in himself and be able to persevere or to make this miracle happen. If he just sat there and waited for God to make the miracle happen, it might not have. He needed to take matters into his own hands. This theme continues in my Haftorah portion. My Haftorah is about an Israelite prophetess and judge named Deborah. Barak is a big-time Israelite army general, and he goes to Deborah and asks her to fight in a battle with him to defend their home from the Canaanites, who have been ruthless warlords. He needs Deborah because she's the brains of the operation, and with her help, they defeat the entire army except for Sisera, the general. Sisera escapes and ends up in a tent with a woman named Yael. Yael has ties to both sides, the Israelites and the Canaanites. Sisera asks for a blanket and a warm glass of milk, and tells her that if anyone asks where she should say he isn't there. Sisera immediately falls asleep. Next part is a bit bloody. To quote the text, then Yael took a tent pin and grasped the mallet. She approached him stealthily and drove the pin through his temple, which is his brain, till it went down to the ground. Thus he died. Yes, this is the exact quote. There are parallels in these stories. Sisera, like Pharaoh, was a great coward. Yael took matters into her own hands, just like Moses, and unlike Bob. She took personal responsibility, and she proved that she could do something and save the people, even when no one would have had expected it of her, least of all herself. Both Moses and Yael learned how to own it and turn out to be capable of doing surprising, even miraculous things. Becoming a bar mitzvah is a lot about taking personal responsibility. That's true for everyone who becomes a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah. It takes a lot of study and it's super stressful, but in the end you come out with having felt like you did something amazing. And I can say that I have definitely prepared for this for a very long time. I've gone to services pretty much every Shabbat for my entire life, even though I might have not always wanted to. And I've been going to school here, first starting in preschool, and then religious school and Hebrew school every single week. For me, though, the responsibility of becoming a bar mitzvah is a little different. Being the rabbi's son, lots of people may have assumed that this bar mitzvah would feel a certain way. You probably might have expected this service to be super Jewish or traditional or just different. But I decided that taking personal responsibility meant making this experience my own. My parents really wanted my bar mitzvah to take place in Israel, but it was important for me to feel like I could own this and make it right for me. That meant working on this special Torah portion and getting the chance to sing it, which is a chant that's totally different from the rest of the year. It meant designing my own invitations and logo, and it meant being able to celebrate with all of you, my closest family and friends. None of this is exactly miraculous. I'm not splitting the sea or killing bad guys, but getting to plan this experience myself was a chance to take matters into my own hands and make it my own, and I'm proud of what I accomplished to get here today on my own. But I know I didn't do it alone. Just like in my Torah and Haftorah portion, I had a lot of people who gave me the strength and courage and skills and love to get here today. My parents are the best parents and rabbis ever. I love you guys. Thank you to Molly, who has sat beside me at every Shabbat service our entire lives, and for being a great sister, especially over these last years of COVID when it was just the two of us. Adele, thank you for helping me prepare for today. You've been patient and always keep me on track, even when I wanted to mess with the microphones. Reflect, it was so cool having you here today. It really meant a lot to me. I feel so lucky to have 4 of my grandparents here today: Mimi, Opa, Nana, and Grammy. And Grim, thank you for sharing your 95th birthday with me. And thanks to all of my friends and family who are celebrating with me here today, in person, and over the live stream. I'm so glad I could share this experience with you. This is a time in history when, now more than ever, it's important for people to understand what it means to take personal responsibility. I hope today inspires each of us to think about what that could mean for us in the year ahead.
So we know that at Temple Israel, there's a lot of times where sort of family and community overlaps. And so it's now our honor to invite the president of the congregation, Louise Lasses, who is a friend of ours and who's somehow related to us. I don't know how we're related.
I'm never entirely certain, but I believe that my grandfather and your grandmother were cousins.
That's very true.
I know. This is such a family event. I'm going to stand over here and take this off. Congratulations. I don't think I can top your speech. That was fantastic. You've done a phenomenal job. Congratulations to you. It's been fun watching you these last 2 years. We know you love Challah. We know that you can manage lighting the Shabbat candles when your mother cannot. But beyond that, I love bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs because it's truly when the community comes together. I see your friends, and both from Hebrew and I assume Ladue Middle School, the 7th grade classes here today, welcome. We get the congregation, and then we get your family. The Alpers from wherever the Alpers exist. And your in-town family, your grandparents, your parents, your sister, your great-grandmother, whom, in all honesty, she's my favorite. But let's keep that between us. Congratulations on today. As president of the congregation, welcome to full membership in the tribe. And congratulations on making it through today in Jonah fashion, which was just brilliant. Small token of congratulations.
All right, Joe, so we get to give you the other stuff. So, you know, it's really funny. I always tell people that they should keep their naming certificate so that you know when the bar mitzvah comes. And I will admit I have no idea where Jonah's naming certificate is. So, sorry. I know, it's probably somewhere. But, Yonah, again, we had no question at least what your Hebrew name was. So, Mazel Tov, you became a bar mitzvah. We're so glad. I will keep this one safer and sounder than I kept your naming certificate, wherever it is. And also, you know, we always have this opportunity to give you a gift certificate to go on an Israel trip.
Ironic.
And so we will go on an Israel trip as a family sometime soon, now that Israel has reopened its doors. But really what this gift certificate is for is a trip that we hope you will take when you are 16 without us, because that is actually hard to imagine, but more fun than going to Israel with your parents is going with your friends. So 7th grade dudes and girls, we hope that you all will travel on this trip together, take lots of pictures, and tell us all about it, but that's in 3 years. Okay. So, you know, for so long in this process, Adele has been saying to us, all right, you know, you have to find a way to be the parents and not the rabbis. And Adele, you have just been so amazing in helping us through this process and helping us to remind us of that. But the truth is that there's no way, right? Like, there's no way for us to separate being the rabbis from being your parents. But I think there's something really remarkable about the fact that when we're looking out on the people who are here today and all of our friends and family who are watching from home, that, you know, You all are the people who help us figure out how we can be both parents and rabbis. And it's because of you and because of your support that we're able to do everything we do. And last night, Rick sang this beautiful song about what it means to be a chosen family. And I thought, oh, that is the phrase I've been looking for so long, that you are really our chosen family. And we feel so lucky to have you in our lives and to have had you with us every step of the way, raising these children. And Jonah, you gave me a hard time. You've been saying like, Mom, have you written your speech yet? And I was like, Jonah, I never write down the speeches. So, but no, I mean, really, here's the thing, Jonah, is that your dad and I have been doing this. We have been helping kids become bar and bat mitzvah for like more than 20 years now. But I don't say that because it makes it easier. I say that because I guarantee that every bar or bat mitzvah in which we have ever officiated, even before we knew each other, because Dad was doing this even before we went to rabbinical school, every single time we'll be up here and we will imagine that one day it would be our child. And so I feel like I've been preparing for this for so very long. Your dad and I met in 2001 in Jerusalem. And that was a time in history where it felt like the whole world was falling apart. There was the Second Intifada, and then 9/11 happens. And for us, part of what got us through this crazy time in history was actually Jonah. Not you yet, because you weren't born, but the way that we became friends and study partners was that we studied the book of Jonah. And part of what was so remarkable about this book for each of us, actually I shouldn't say for each of us, because Michael probably likes something different about it, but at least in my head, what I loved about this book of Jonah was that, first of all, Jonah was someone, he says, Ivri Anochi, he knows exactly who he is from the very beginning. And then when there is a time of great danger, he looks around at the people around him and he thinks of them. He puts others' needs in front of his own. And lastly, when he is called upon to do something very hard, he jumps in and does it, even though it's difficult. And so Dad and I studied this text together, and we knew that one day we would get married and that we would have children and that our first child would be Jonah. And it seems to me so perfect that you are in every way that Jonah that we first fell in love with when we were studying it together. That you have always known exactly who you are. You knew what you wanted to do. You knew what your interests were. You have absolutely been Jonah every moment and have never tried to be anyone else. You are also someone who always cares about the people around him. When we're asked on camp forums or school forums to describe your child, the word I use is always empathetic, because you always care and think first about the people around you. And then, like Jonah, you know that when things are hard, that you have to dive in and be the one to take those difficult steps, even if it's difficult. And so my hope for you really is that you always continue to be Jonah, that you always know who you are, that you always care about others and show empathy and love, and that even when decisions are hard, that you will make the right choices. And I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. Great.
I think I might need to kiss you.
Oh.
At the end of Return of the Jedi, there is a great moment in which Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader confront each other, father and son.
Spoiler.
If you haven't seen it, it's like, what is it, 87? I mean, come on, people. At the end of the film, and all the great fighting between father and son, your mother, I had this as a joke before you were even born. Darth Vader removes his helmet and says to Luke, "You were right." All teenagers now listening, as a father, I want to say something. Jonah, you were right. In his speech, Jonah explained how I wanted to have his bar mitzvah in Israel. But the fact of the matter is, that wasn't meant to be. And quite frankly, as I look around this room, especially at this swath over here, as I look across the whole room, I realize that you were right. That this moment should have taken place right here. And more importantly, I want to realize what the Torah portion also taught me and what you taught me. Not yet.
Just preparing.
Which is that some of the greatest miracles in the Bible take place outside of Israel, in a place that not necessarily we assumed we would find ourselves. And that in those places, as you explained, with God's help, but with our own seichel, our own chutzpah, our own koyach, their own strength and wisdom and determination, we can make miracles happen. So in saying that, I want to have you turn around and not look at me, but I want to ask everybody who's under the age of, let's say, 16, to please stand up. Maybe including Mackenzie. We'll include Mackenzie. It's just 16. Look at that. You didn't believe that that was going to happen. They're all here because you make miracles happen. You make things manifest in this world. Give him a wave. Say hi. Make sure he knows it's real. It's not like a screen.
I want to make sure they don't disappear in a second.
All right, you guys can sit down. I want you to look at this little pocket right here. This lady who basically that my brother brought across the country through the airports. That is a miracle, that she could be here and stand to pass you the Torah, and that Grammy is here, that all our friends are here, and that all these people are truly our friends and family. You made this moment manifest. You make miracles happen today, and never forget that you have the power to do it whenever you choose. May you be given strength. May you be given wisdom. May you continue in the ways of Torah. And may you remember that with love and determination and belief in yourself, miracles are possible.
Now do you need the tissue?
Look at that.
All right, so we get to do one final blessing. That was the parent blessing. Now we're going to do a whole other one. Is that okay, so, but we're going to invite everyone, if you will, to please rise. And Joni, you're going to stand on this one first. May God bless you and keep you.
May God's light shine upon you and guide you as you go on your way through life. May
countenance be lifted over you. May you be granted with wholeness and strength. So we're going to turn now back to our service and return our Torah to the ark.
Romimu, Romimu, Adonai Eloheinu, Ishtachabu, Ishtachabu, Romimu, 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 Adonai Eloheinu, Ishtachabu, Lehar Kodsho. Ki kadosh, Adonai Eloheinu romimu. Ki kadosh, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Eloheinu. Romemu, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, V'ishtachavu lehar kodsho.
And we're going to continue now with the words of the Aleinu, which are on the bottom of page 282.
Aleinu l'shabech la'adon ha'kol, la'ateit gidula liyotzeh breshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzon, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralenu kechol hamonam, va'anaknu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu.
Page 287. V'nema v'haya Adonai v'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. So today we are thanking Jonah of all of your grandparents who were not able to join us today. We're thinking of Esther and Cy Werner. We're thinking of Evelyn Goldberg. We're thinking of Al Melman. We're thinking of Jerry and Morris Scharfing. We're thinking of Miriam and Max Fader. And we're thinking of Barry Alper. So thinking of all of them and knowing how proud they would be of you today, we join together, honoring them and honoring all those we have lost in the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitzkadal v'yitzkadash shemei rabbah, ba'alma divarach cheruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv ve'emru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach la'alam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha barichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran ba'alma ve'emru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael ve'emru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael ve'emru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. All right, so before we turn to our closing blessings and a final song, again, we're so grateful you all could be with us today. You want to give a little wave to everyone watching from home, all the aunts and uncles and friends who are home. Thank you for joining us. We want to give a special thank you to Rick Reck for his beautiful music, to Louise Lasses for representing the board, and Ted Dell to being the most amazing tutor.
And all of Jonah's teachers that are
Exactly.
here.
We feel so lucky to have all of you here. So we also know that we have to do a few announcements because that's what we do. So at the end of the service, a few things. So first, we hope when you walk in, there's a poster that Jonah has Jonah's awesome logo on it. So we hope that you will sign the poster just so we know you were here. And then we have some really yummy treats. It's a to-go egg, so you're allowed to eat it here if you want to, or you take it to go. Neg. And so thank you to Aunt Martha and to Aunt Packman and to Mimi for making all the beautiful treats in there. There's also candy, because we heard Jonah's friends like candy. After you grab your treats, we're going to take a few minutes, and then we'll have the 7th graders are going to join us on the bus that should be waiting outside. So grab your snacks, use the restroom, whatever you want to, and then
We're not kidnapping you. It's for the party.
We're not. Yes, we will take you on a bus.
Was that ever in question?
So in anticipation, though, of all the treats that we're going to have, we would like to invite all the cousins and Molly. So Molly and Miles and Parker and Mackenzie and Jeffrey, will you guys come and help us? We have another yummy challah from Mora Diane. And Jonah, you help too. You help them. No candles this time. All right, you want to lift the glass? Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
L'chaim.
Miles, do you want to unwrap the challah?
Oh.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lachem min haaretz. Amen. All right, Cousin Jeffrey, dive on in.
Break that. Break some.
Nicely done. All right, everyone, thank you so much. So Rick is going to sing us out the door. Jonah, make your way out, my friend.
Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'alku. Od yavo shalom, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom, od yavo shalom, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu. Shabbat Shalom.